Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Hey, welcome back to What's on Tap podcast. I am your host, Stefan.
I'm your host, Martin.
And today...
And you are our listener.
You are our wonderful listeners.
We're very bad at including our listeners in the conversation.
We want to make sure they feel heard and seen.
Yeah.
And
not seen. That's very difficult.
They don't know where our cameras are. So I was in the States over the holidays. And even though this is going to come out at the end of February, because we just got around to doing it, we're actually recording this in early January. So the reason I'm kind of giving away when we're recording this is that we have an IPA. I didn't want them to think that we had this IPA sitting around a can for 2 months before we got around to it. So anyway, my family lives in Northwest Arkansas. And Northwest Arkansas is primarily made up of 4 different cities. There's Fayetteville, which is where the University of Arkansas is based. Cool. Go Hogs. And that's kind of the major university for the state. Huge population base there. Just next to that is Springdale. And Springdale is a medium-sized city. And then above that you have Bentonville and Rogers. And that's the power base. That's where the money is. Because that's where Walmart's based. And Walmart is the largest box store distribution company in the world. It's absolutely huge. And so there's a ton of money there, and it is really, really nice. It's one of those areas you just want to go, yep, this is money.
Is the word swanky appropriate?
A little bit. Some of it's quite swanky, but it's also one of these things like, these people bought their houses back in the 70s when the property was super cheap, and now they're sitting on $1 million plots, kind of thing. Yeah. So, and the houses are still from the 70s and a little run down because nobody's bought it up yet. But there's just so much money up there. It is ridiculous. And what's also going on up there is brewing. Uh-huh. So the last time I was there was about 3 years ago, and there was pretty much just like 2 or 3 breweries. One of them is even closed. There was this place called Ozark Brewing, and they do really good stuff. As a matter of fact, the last time I was there, I got a beer that's called the BDCS, and it's I think it's Imperial Milk Stout. Nice. Really, really good. And we reviewed that on the show. But without me. Without you. This is pre-Martin days. I know. And now, when I was there were 3 new breweries, all of which were really good. The one that we won't review on this show is called Hawk Moth. And from there, I tried a couple of sours and a couple of stouts, and they were really, really good stuff. Quite enjoyed them. And then I went over and tried this new brewery called Social Project, which is blowing up in the area. And they're just doing a lot of IPAs and sours and stouts, just like, kind of hitting those modern trends. Yep. And then the other one that I tried was called Natural State Beer Company. And what they do is just strictly German styles. Only German. So nice. They had a Helles and a Lager and a Pilsner and a Bock and a Double Bock and Weiss and just all sorts of different types.
So am I understanding it correctly that we have one social beer company and one natural state beer in front of us?
So I brought back one from Social Project because I really wanted to, which really threw me off because I thought Side Project when I first heard it. And I was like, oh, that's right. Then I have to kind of remember this is the Social Project. It's a different thing. So yeah, I thought it would be really fun to try 2 from up there.
Yes, please. Yeah. Insert into my mouth.
Yeah. All right. So the first one we'll try is called Makai. It's a double hazy IPA using Cashmere and Sabro, and then Incognito and milk sugar. Comes in at 8%.
And this is Social Project.
This is Social Project. They have these little bees as their icon.
You showed me a link to Hawk Moth. So when I saw this can, I was like, is that the Hawk Moth?
No, Hawk Moth is kind of it's a big moth that exists up in that region that kind of blends in with
so it's a creature with wings, and this here is a creature with wings.
But very, very different type of wings.
When you look really closely.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So The smell is
a little bit grassy.
Yeah, a little grassy.
A little sweet.
Kind of juicy a little bit, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It was. So I've had this like I think 3 or 4 times now, and I've really enjoyed it.
The same exact version.
Yeah. So I bought I tried it at the brewery, and then I bought a 4-pack.
Ah, of course.
And so I couldn't bring home a 4-pack, but I brought home 2 of them.
Nice.
And I had to drink the other 2. So cheers.
Cheers.
I really liked this one.
It's a really good body.
Yeah.
It coats the mouth with a little bit of hop abrasiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I use the word abrasive negatively. This is positively, where it kind of it itches my it scratches my itch for hops.
Yeah. No, it's got a nice, I think, hoppiness coming in. There's a bit of sweet tropical flavors coming off of this. It's got that milk sugar, so it's a little bit on the little extra. It's not super sweet, but it definitely has a bit of a sweetness to it, which I think really works well with the American palate because they love sugar over there.
Yeah. I am pleasantly surprised. When I read Sabro, I was like, do I usually like Sabro beers? And I don't really, but this one is great.
Yeah. I think this one is super enjoyable. I mean, it's just light, drinkable, 8%. A little bit of a slight bitter finish to complement the sweetness and the hoppiness of it. I think overall just a really solid beer. I've had one critique of the overall brewery is that they use milk sugar in a lot of their beers.
Yep.
So when I was looking at their beer board, I think there was 12 beers. At least 10 of them had milk sugar in them. So I'm like, are they using the milk sugar to
hide the flaw?
Hide some flaws? Yeah.
Or is it just their personal preference?
Yeah.
In this beer, I really like it. So it is adding something.
Yeah.
But I can grow tired of this slightly sweet aftertaste.
Yeah, I could drink a lot of this, and I have, and I wish I could get more of it because this is an IPA I would definitely or double IPA I would definitely go back to many times because for me it's just really easy to drink and quite enjoyable. But if I was to have all of their beers and they all had milk sugar in them, I don't think I would enjoy that as much. I think it would be kind of that's what I started questioning is like, are they using that to kind of as a flavor enhancer, or are they kind of like trying to cover up some flaws or something? So they've only been around, like I said, 3 months. I mean, I think they're doing a really solid job so far.
That is amazing,
Yeah.
and I think you in some cupboard you have some more stuff from them that maybe the show listeners won't.
Yeah, so I also brought back a 4-pack of I think it's a Berliner Weiss or it's a Goza, one or the other. I can't remember which, but it's a lemon lime. Let's say it's a Berliner Weiss. But then they made 3 variants as well of it, and they sold it as a 4-pack.
Oh, so the 4-pack is 4 different beers.
Well, it's 4. Right. It's 4 different beers.
That's the best.
So you have the base. You have the base, and then you have 3 with additional flavorings. There's vanilla, peach, and then a cranberry pomegranate.
That's just the best way to sell a 4-pack.
It is. It really is. Because I mean, I don't mind getting a 4-pack of say 1, but I'd rather do like a 2 and 2, or maybe a mix of 4 kind of.
Yeah, and it also depends on the beer. Like this beer, a very drinkable, tasty IPA. Mm-hmm. Sure, we could go through a 4-pack in a very short amount of time before it expires or something. Yeah. But an imperial stout, you might, after the first or second, you might go, I'll save the rest. Yeah. Then they'll just lie in the back of a cupboard and.
Exactly.
And you'll kind of forget about them.
Well, they were selling 2 different bottles there, and both of them were quite nice stouts. But I felt like the Makai was really the way to go. And then when I saw that 4-pack with different flavors, I was like, well, I gotta do that and then bring that back.
But I really like this. I guess I'm somewhere on a really strong 4.25.
Yeah, I gave it a 4.5 in the past, and I'm going to stick with it. I think it's just a solid beer.
It's somewhere in between there, yes.
Yeah. It's like a 4. I can only do 4.5 or 4.5. I'm not paying. So it's like a 4.35, I guess, overall.
Yeah, so somewhere
around
there, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing this with me.
Well, of course. I'm really excited about all of the beers I brought back, and I really want to share them as much as possible. So I've been haven't been drinking them yet.
Nice. So now we're going into German territory.
Right. So we have a Doppelbock, a Doppel Schwarzbier, which is aged in bourbon barrels, and it is called NSB2 Supernatural Series from, like I said, Natural State Beer Company. And Natural State is the state motto of Arkansas.
Ooh.
That's where it gets its name. It says, this is a nod to our German heritage and our affinity for brewing traditional European beers. We have again created a treat for our beer lovers. Our second anniversary brew has been aged in bourbon barrels since April, importing strong notes of caramel, chocolate, and plum, bringing new characters to our signature annual brew and creating a rich, smooth, sensory experience sure to delight the most discerning palate. Comes in at 9% ABV, and this is number 40 of 500 units.
Nice.
What was nice about Natural State was you could buy 4-packs, but you could also buy individuals to create your own 4-pack.
That's good.
Love that.
So
they had a flat rate of, say, like $14, but if you wanted to mix, it was like $16.
Yeah. So Schwarzbier, typical German style.
Yes.
Doppelbock, typical German style. But no German style would call themselves Doppel Schwarzbier.
No.
That's not really a thing. And they would not age it on bourbon barrels.
But, so this is really the exception to what everything.
But smelling it,
but yeah,
I'm happy they did. Because the bourbon barrels are cutting through the rest of the aroma.
Yeah.
And it's a really...
It's got kind of a malty breadiness to it, but then you've got
Yes.
that bourbon barrel flavoring on top of that. And I think we had this, and it was just like, wow, this is so good. So I think we ended up with a 4-pack of this because I think this was when they were only selling in 4-packs, and I was like, well, I'm definitely taking one of these home with me to try. Yeah,
Cheers!
So cheers. So yeah, you got that nice Doppelbock kind of flavor, and then the bourbon barrel aging on it is just a nice kind of background note. I think it's definitely there. This might be a little cold still, but I think it's a character enhancer. You definitely get the caramel, you get the kind of malted bread kind of flavors, like the Danish or Norwegian kind of
really dark bread. I'm getting
Yeah.
that from what I am assuming is the Doppel Schwarzbier aspect of it. And yes, the bourbon.
Yeah, it's hard to say all of a sudden.
The bourbon barrels are there in the aftertaste, but I'm having more difficulty finding them in the actual taste than in the aroma.
Right, it's not a bourbon forward flavor. So it's not like the Backwoods Bastard, where it's the Old Ale, which is really
exactly.
kind of like, which for me is very similar in the mouthfeel, which is an Old Ale aged in bourbon barrels, and that Old Ale really picks up aggressively those bourbon barrel characters. For me, this is much more of a Doppelbock, and then the bourbon barrel flavoring is like the accent flavor, which I quite like. I think the finish on this is that kind of boozy, bourbony notes combined with those rich, malty notes.
The aftertaste is very tasty, but it disappears quite quickly for me.
See, for me, it kind of lingers.
The bourbon aspect of it disappears, and then what's left is this like really hard, dark bread, or even Swedish knäckebröd.
Yeah, which I like. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
For me, these are all good things.
Yes, but yeah, maybe I was expecting more of the actual flavor to stay.
I think as you drink more of it, it builds on your tongue and your palate. So the first sip is kind of like, it's kind of light, and then by the time you get through the beer and get more into the finishing the glass, I think it's kind of built a little bit. So I'm getting a little bit more booziness in the second sip than I got in the first sip.
A little bit of wood flavor.
Let's see here. Yeah, so Social Project is based in Bentonville, Arkansas, and then Natural State is based out of, I think it said Rogers. And again, these are very difficult to tell. It's like crossing from one town. They all kind of just blend together.
Yeah. But the Doppel Schwarzbier, it's somewhere on a really strong 4 for me.
So yeah, they've also only been around a very short time, 2 years.
Nice.
And apparently they took home a gold medal in the GABF for their Maibach. And they were voted best brewery and tap room in Northwest Arkansas. The tap rooms themselves are quite nice too. The Social Project, it was very traditional. It was kind of built into a strip mall back in kind of a newly developed neighborhood or developing neighborhood. It was right on the last part of the development area, because after that it was just wilderness. And it was just kind of in a corner, and you walk in and you've got your high ceilings, of course, and you've got your concrete floors, and very much looked like a tap room. On the Natural State one, it was right across the street from a mega church. Like I said, there's like a little jogging path and a canal, and then there's the mega church with like three huge crosses. And my brother calls it Six Flags Over Jesus. But the tap room itself is
Six Flags is an amusement park.
Six Flags is an amusement park, much like Disneyland or something. Yeah. And the brewery itself was quite nice, kind of working with a lot of like wood and kind of emboldening that outdoorsy kind of feel. It was cool. The sampler tray was cut into, I think, the state of Arkansas. It was a nice looking serving tray. I was like, ooh, this is kind of cool.
That is nice.
It's just one of those things where you're kind of like, I hate for this to disappear on my way home. So this might not make it back to the front counter.
Oops.
I think as this warms up, though, the bourbon characters are starting to come out more.
So what have you given it before today?
I think I gave it a 4.5 or a 4.25.
Yeah.
Again, this is right in my wheelhouse. I really like this beer a lot. I think today I'm going to give it a 4.25.
It's approaching a 4.5 for me from the strong 4, but we'll see where it lands.
Yeah, I think it was a little cold. It took them out a little bit before we started, but I think it should have been closer to room temperature than what it was when we first started recording. Because as this warms up, I think those bourbon-y characters are going to really pop a lot more. But yeah, both of these are really great. It just shows to me that no matter where you go, in the most unlikely of places, you're going to find good beers.
Yeah.
In fact, there are 2 more breweries I wish we could review on the show. One from Salem Springs. Ivory Bill was really good. Again, a very, very small town in the middle of nowhere. And then there was another brewery called Gotta Hold out of Eureka.
They made sour beers, right?
They made they made barley wines and stouts and sours. And I brought back 2 beers from them. One is an imperial stout and one is a saison.
Nice.
And the saison I had while I was there, and it was really good.
You do like your saison.
I do like a good funky saison. I'm not gonna lie, and they really nailed it, I thought. So yeah, that is what we brought back. If you're out and about traveling and you know of a great little brewery in the middle of nowhere that no one's ever heard of before, and let us know. We'd love to know what all is going on in your neck of the woods, because every time I go back, I'm finding new fun things. As a matter of fact, I got this. There's a brewery out of Houston called Urban South that just kind of launched not long ago that are making those fruit smoothie beers.
Oh,
really doing a great job with them.
Nice.
So always finding new stuff and new breweries, and the industry has changed so much in the past couple of years. So I'm glad it's not just like the big beer meccas that are making the great stuff, that you're finding it in the most unlikely of places as well.
Exactly.
Okay, so you can find us online at what'sontappodcast.com, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you can find. Oh, Spotify. Spotify, yeah. Big one. Otherwise, you can find us online. So until next time.
Keep drinking it, dum-dums.